Welcome to Sam Roberts Now.
I've been here the whole time.
We're here, not you. I'm talking to the audience. It's Sam Roberts Now. Welcome. We're here. We're live from the Not Sam Studios on YouTube. It's very, very exciting, ladies and gentlemen. I said when I first launched this studio about a week ago that I'd have guests in here. I'd be doing solo shows. I'd be doing all kinds of things. And I thought today would be the right day to bring on a guest for the first time. And I don't have a huge Rolodex.
No, I know you have zero Rolodex, but it's good that you started with a real powerful, a real guy that's going to get you some eyeballs.
Why you ladies and gentlemen, Jim Norton's here. Jim,
I figured the hat. You got to get the applause little button.
You want to
Zoo Cruise play?
Yeah, you want your own like special like fake applause.
I do. The hat I figure is just. I mean, this is how I am in real life, and I'm like, let the people see me just chilling. You know.
Yeah, because I guess that's the thing about you is that they see this radio personality or this stand-up comic, and they don't really see the true Jim Norton.
Just chilling.
Yeah, just chilling. Like what is Sunday Jim Norton all about?
Just kind of like hang out in my hat, just chill.
Right. You got your coffee,
decaf, chip.
Now, is there any reason why you wear your hat only on? You wear your hat only on top of your head?
I just figure it's cool. It looks younger.
That's what you figure.
Yeah,
huh?
I want to look like I'm working on the set in Brooklyn.
No, I'm glad that that's what you figured.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Let them see. You know, I'm just that I'm woke.
You're coming across as woke right now.
Stop it.
Lila wants to join too.
Piece of garbage. Get away from me.
It really is funny when Jim comes over the house because Lila's a weird dog, but anytime that Jim comes in, Jim's good with animals. Yeah. And so she barks and barks and barks and barks and barks. And then Jim shows up and she finally starts to calm down.
She bites me a lot.
But then immediately you do the Chip voice. And she starts barking again.
She immediately backs up and is like, ugh. She likes this. Yeah. And then you put your hand in her mouth and she like bites it a little bit.
There's this repulsive quality about Chip that hits people, hits animals.
It hits everything alive. It hits mammals.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on? Are you barking or something?
So how was, you had a big show last night. It was Town Hall.
It was fun, man. It was really good. Thank you to Mary Jean. The lovely Mary Jean came and she brought me flowers.
Go away, Lila.
And it was nice. Kenny showed up, Club Soda Kenny, which was a nice surprise.
You didn't know he was coming?
I did not, no. I was happy to see Kenny, and it was a really good time.
I saw a tweet that Kenny sent out that was very sweet. It just said, friends. And then it was a picture of your dressing room door. And said, at Jim Norton, at Jim and Sam, at Kelsey Cook. Yeah.
I didn't see that. It was nice to see Kelsey, too. You know, she did a great job, and my accountant came. He's a very touchy man. He touches a lot. Hello, Jim. Yeah.
Why is he a touchy?
I don't know. He's just one of those guys, but I trust him with numbers.
Well, that's probably what it is. He's like, you can't. I want him to trust me. Don't worry, I'm not doing anything shady. No, don't worry, don't worry.
Okay. Meanwhile, he's fucking bilking me. But I do go online and check once in a while.
I wouldn't be this intimate if I was ripping you off.
Yeah, you're right. Which means he's ripping you off.
Of course it is. A lot. Of course it is. But the show went well?
It did, yeah. I was very, very happy. And, you know, it was nice to work in New York again. I got Jersey coming up. A lot of stuff coming up. I'm just tired.
Have you been doing too much? Have you been biting off more than you can chew?
I have, especially your wife's cookies were phenomenal. She makes these weird. They felt like they were just wet, like there was wet cookies, but because they don't have any wheat in them.
Yeah, she was like, does Jim want? I said that you're coming over today. She was like, oh, does he want cookies? I was like, well, Jim tries to eat healthy. Yeah. And she goes, no, these are healthy cookies. I guess she makes them with no wheat, no sugar except brown sugar. Like I don't eat them.
They're very good.
Yeah, it's brown sugar and peanut butter and bananas and stuff. Yeah, but Jim was like, okay. You go. I'll just have a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little nibble,
which I've seen you do before.
Yeah, it's hard.
I said, okay, just have a little bit, Jim.
A little nibble
shouldn't be a problem. Of course, then he's like, well, let me just finish off that cookie. You had 3 cookies.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
they were very good.
You liked them?
Yeah, 3 wet cookies, 3 fucking glop wet cookies, but they were phenomenal. I enjoyed them a lot.
Well, I'm glad. Do you like playing theaters?
Yeah, I mean,
because you played Town Hall last night, which is this big, like, how many seats is it?
1,300.
It's where they've done the Patrice benefit every year, right?
No, they do that at City Center, which is 2200.
So what did I see in Town Hall before? Did Patrice ever play Town Hall? Maybe I saw that.
I don't know. I did Town Hall in 2002.
Maybe that's when I was
But that
there.
was April of 2002, I think.
But it's how many people?
About 1,300, something like that.
Do you like that?
Yeah, it's great. Clubs are more intimate. I'd rather do 80 people because it's more fun.
Right, and plus then you can sell out.
Or at least become half sold out. This thing got half sold out.
Right. Right.
You know, this is a nice half a house there.
Uh-huh.
Spread them out a little bit.
Did you sell out last night?
No, I probably missed by 200, but I was okay with
Okay.
that considering I also have dates for Huntington, Long Island on sale, and I also have dates for Montclair, New Jersey on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a bunch of stuff in the area, you cannibalize a little bit. I didn't want to put. There was no way to do it, but I'm doing December 2nd. I'm in Montclair. It's
Right.
like, 3 weeks later, I'm in Montclair. So people who live in Jersey who might have said, fuck it, let's go to see him in New York, are going to go, Montclair's right here.
How does Kelsey do in front of audiences like that? Because you've been doing this for so long that even if you weren't used to, quote unquote, a theater audience, which you've done a lot of theaters.
Sure.
Like there's no audience that you're going to be in front of that you're going to go, I can't handle this.
No.
But Kelsey's young. Kelsey hasn't, before opening for you and stuff, she hasn't been in front of giant crowds before. She's
She's good, though. Yeah, she's part of when someone opens for you is like, part of it is like, do they do well on stage, which she does? Is she fun to hang with, which she is? But that's a big part of it, is you want someone who's fun to be on the road with and who you like eating meals with and who you like talking to.
Yeah.
Because half the time you're not working. Most of the time you're not working. You're like, all right, we're in the city now. I got to do press tomorrow. You want to grab some food? Like, you want it to be a friend. That's a big part of it.
Do you have to, so yeah, you're like, you hire friends now.
You hire a friend, somebody who you enjoy. I mean, you could do it with somebody you don't know. I've had people who I didn't know that well do it, but then you just have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, have you had scenarios where like you just pick somebody up because you usually do women, right?
Yeah.
And you pick up because you hear good things about this female stand-up, and then you get her on the road with you or whatever, and she's just not fun.
No, I've had no one who wasn't fun. Like, people I just don't know as well. There's a comic I use named Brandy Brown in the Midwest sometimes because she lives there, so I don't have to fly her, and she's really funny. But I don't know her as well. We've only worked together a few times. Or Emily Galati, I like a lot. She's really, really smart and funny. And I've done a few road gigs with her, and she's great, but I don't know her as well.
I would just hate committing to that thing because I never even think about that. Like, you're not doing anything in these towns that you're at, so you're going to want to hang out with your opener. And if you commit to being like, yeah, you can be the person, and you realize, like, they're fine as an act, but I don't like them. I don't want to hang out with them. Then you're screwed.
And I would use men, too. The reason I don't use men, there's no weird reasons I don't use men. It's because a lot of times we cover things from the same angle.
Plus, it's tough to masturbate in front of them.
No, it's actually preferable.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, they love it. Kidding me? Bob Kelly's like, go ahead, dude. I got my popcorn. You got your jergens.
That was the problem with Louie, that for years he did it in front of Bob Kelly jerking off.
And it
it was
didn't
fine.
matter, yeah.
It was fine. He's like, I thought this is something
Yeah,
comics
Bob's
do.
like, shoot it on a roll, Lou. I don't. No, but it's people think a lot. It's so funny when people think like, your Jim just wants to fuck, and it's like, I don't even address it because it's just so stupid.
Right.
But it's literally, you have no idea how wrong that is. Like, I have zero desire to sleep with the women that open for me.
Well, you hear about that, right? And I don't think it escapes you anywhere. Like, I think that, like, when I do stuff, even like when I'm doing wrestling stuff, when I was doing stuff with Katie.
Oh, yeah, that was
when
obvious.
I was doing exactly when I was doing stuff with Kathy Kelly.
Sure.
Like, it would get back to me that people that I've known for years are going to other people and being like, oh, he's just trying to fuck her, you know? He's just trying to get her out here. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not. And, like, this is where the theory doesn't add up. That if you do that, right, if you're doing something professional where you're just trying to fuck somebody, then eventually you either do it and it screws everything up, or you don't do it and you get mad and it screws everything up. The fact that there's any sort of permanence,
Right.
like the fact that it goes on for more than 2 months, would lead you to believe that there's probably nothing going on.
No, and it's not like me. I think I'm some great guy. I have enough of that stuff, although not much in the last year, but like enough.
What do you mean,
like,
what stuff?
Promiscuity and different people, and I've really, really mellowed out a lot. Like the pay stuff, I don't do anymore at all, and I'm happy to not. Like,
Yeah.
you get mellower as you get older, and my female friends or my friends in the business, it was just always just comfortable.
Right.
It made me feel normal. Like you
Okay,
know.
so that's where you would go to be like, I am able to have female friends.
I have these friendships with people who I really like, and I think they're funny and
Right.
enjoyable. I mean, I have them outside the business, but most of the people I know are in the business.
But not having sex with them is what keeps you in this space of reality.
Yeah, but it was never on the table, and it was never something that I aspired to or they did. It was never like, all right, well, I'm hoping like.
Right.
It's just not. Like, I meet enough crazy people, and there's fans, and there's people like, I mean, not that they're all crazy, but
Plus,
it's not hard to meet people.
As much as comedians talk, and like when we bring up the Louie thing, it's like,
What happened with him?
no, I know that you kind of stay away from the newspapers, but the rumors about Louie were always there because if that is something that you do, there's going to be rumors about you out there. And when it's Jim Norton who has been honest to a fault about his sexual proclivities, that's nothing that's going to help you moving forward if you start having sex with your openers.
And it's just not, my energy doesn't go that way. And it's not me moralizing or saying I'm a great guy. It's just your energy goes where it goes. You are what you are sexually. And it's like, that's just not what got me off. It just, like, the thing with people, it's so funny with Louie, how people would come and say, like, oh man, you must have known and blah, blah, blah. I heard the rumors years ago. We've talked about this on the air. I heard the rumors years ago about the two girls. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know any names, but you just heard it. But
you just heard that a thing had happened with two girls.
He jerked off, and it was like, it wasn't a menacing energy. It wasn't like oh my God, he did what? It was like, yeah, it was weird. And then years later, I hear that, what's her name, Jen Kirkman, and then she goes, no, it's not. But there was never a person going, hey, listen to me and believe me.
Right.
There was never that. And
it was never enough to, like, if Louie is your friend, right, it's one thing if you don't know Louie and you can just address the fact that, oh yeah, I've heard some rumors before, and it's almost like you're giggling about it, and it's because it's rumors and it's gossip. But if the dude is your friend and there is no name to attach to it, there's no date, there's no specific incident, it's just this thing that's in the ether, I don't know what there would be for you or I or somebody who knows Louie to talk about, because up until this New York Times thing had come out, there was no actual evidence.
And I'll tell you something. I've told you privately, but I have not said this publicly at all. There is something I lied about. And I put myself in a weird position by lying about it. And it was that I said, like, we had never spoken about it. And the reason I lied about that was because I believe in the privacy of private conversations. Mm-hmm. When somebody says something to me privately, I never reveal it. I never, and I won't give any specifics away or anything that was said to me. I will only say that in the last couple of years, I have asked if it was true, and I was told it was not true more than once. So I did ask.
Wow.
So when the news broke, look, as a person, you always think, hey man, there's something there that doesn't sound like something somebody would make up. I'm not mad at him for not telling me. I understand sexual stuff. Either you're angry about it, you're ashamed about it, whatever. But like, what do you do beyond that? Like, somebody has told you, like, nah, it's just a rumor. And I knew the rumors I had heard, there was never a name on it, except for Jen Kirkman, who I don't know, or I might have met but don't know.
And didn't Jen Kirkman then come back and say that it wasn't Louie?
So yeah, it could have been. But then when I read the New York Times article, I'm like, oh, okay. You could immediately tell they were true.
So there wasn't any part of you that was mad because then Louie had put you in this weird spot of going, no, I don't think that's true because he told you it wasn't?
No, because once I saw when we talked about it that day, once I had seen them written out, I didn't doubt they were true, especially because it was emails. Right. I just won't reveal anything he said to me. It was nothing earth-shattering, but he's my friend, and look, what he did was stupid and selfish, but I love the guy, and I'm not going to break a confidence, but just so people don't think that I'm a fucking moron, of course I asked.
Right.
Of course. And not from this point of view. This was, I'll just say it was like at least twice in the last couple of years.
When you asked him if it was over the phone, was he masturbating?
No, it was in person, and he was.
Okay.
But I egged him on. I was wearing nothing but saran wrap.
Right.
No, but
you said, Louie, I know you've never done this before, but just, hypothetically, show me what it would look like. And
it's funny, I didn't want to reveal that he had said that because for him, he wasn't commenting. And I'm like, that's a denial is a comment. So I wasn't going to break what somebody had told me privately for any reason. I just can't do that.
If you had said this before he releases his statement, you wouldn't call it an apology because he didn't say, well, whatever.
Yeah, it was an apology or whatever it was.
Before he releases his statement, if you say that, then all of a sudden the story is, well, Louie is saying this didn't happen. And even though no, I didn't say that. I said he told me it didn't happen because you're close to him. You now become part of the story when it's not.
And I had no interest in doing that. And I also, again, then I'm betraying what someone has said to me in a private conversation. But okay, now he's admitted it. So anybody who's ever said, I don't know if it's true. It's like, and again, he's not doing that to put people in a bad. I'm not mad at him for that. Like, he put me in a bad spot. No, he didn't.
Right.
He just didn't want to.
It's none of your business anyway. Whatever. What do you mean a bad spot?
Yeah,
right?
It was just a question. I mean, I didn't know it wasn't like I said, hey, look, I'm working with this person now, and she's, I didn't have a name to it. So that's all I'll say about anything private he said to me, but he did deny it more than once. And again, I understand why. If you're doing that, maybe you have, like, I'm very fortunate in the fact I don't have a lot of sexual shame.
Yeah.
I probably should, but I don't. I just don't have it, so I'll tell you anything. But for him, it was what it was. So that was why. Maybe if my attitude was a little weird about it, that was why. Because up until this point, I had been told privately that it didn't happen.
Oh, okay. So you were almost, even though you read it, I see, because when we were talking about it on Friday on the air, there was, even though you specifically said, I believe these people based on what is said in this Times piece, you were willing to play devil's advocate.
Like, hey, what kind of a headspace? Did he know that they didn't want it? What did he know?
Right.
Because he had not admitted that he did it. And in my mind, I'm knowing, like, okay, he has told me a couple of times that he didn't do it.
So maybe in his head, this is some sort of like just a random hookup that
or
isn't.
In his head, maybe it is completely consensual.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But
not this tawdry thing.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, the reality is, you just can't do it with people you're in the business. There is something with power dynamics. And
yeah, that's a real thing.
I'm so paranoid about fucking, I think getting fired. In 2002, an Opie and Anthony got fucking kicked off the radio. That told me immediately you're replaceable. Like, Jim, they will take you and remove you if you fuck up. So it's made me paranoid for the last 15 years. So I've probably been overcautious the other way.
Right.
Like, don't do anything to fuck with your job. You just can't do it.
No, I mean, I've seen you be paranoid about stuff. Like, I've seen you when, like, the interns are kind of fucking around with each other and you go, you can't do any of that.
Don't touch
anymore. Just no contact. And it's all innocent stuff, but you've kind of seen what the ugly side looks
Absolutely.
like. And by the way, so have I. Like we've all been there watching either coworkers almost get fired or get fired. I wasn't there when you got fired, but I was there when Homeless Charlie happened. And I mean, I think we all thought we were going to get fired again. And it is this thing that changes you because you can't know what that feels like or how real it is, or the Anthony thing, that was happening to us. When Opie got fired, we weren't on that show, so it wasn't quite so intimate. But when Anthony, that was happening to us. And I honestly thought that was another time that I thought the show was done. And you watch the tumbleweed pickup in the press.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh my God, we can't stop this, and we're done.
And when people say stuff like, you guys are sellouts, and I get it. Like, we were a show that would tell everyone to go fuck themselves for a long time. And it's not that you sell out or you're like, I can't believe I said those naughty words. But it's like when you get bills to pay and you're like, it is a job. And when you start to realize they will take this and fuck you. Now, if they say, hey, you can't give this opinion or you can't do any dirty jokes, well, then you just got to walk. But if they're saying, hey, don't grab a girl's twat, you're like, all right, I get it.
That out. SNL I was watching last night, and a lot of it was really bad. Like, SNL lately has had, like, one or two things that really makes me laugh.
How was Tiffany Haddish?
She was all right. Like, I'm happy for her success because I like seeing it, but and I like seeing young people, but it's almost sometimes it feels like she's doing an act.
I did the Nasty Show with her years ago. It was the last time I think Geraldo and I worked together. He was hosting it, and I had to follow her every night. And she made me this handmade thing, like this little thing she drew. I hope I still have it. I don't think I threw it out. I mean, I usually save stuff like that. And she was very nice. She was very personable and really interesting backstory from what I remember.
She seems really hungry. Yeah, she's got a crazy backstory. Like, she went through a lot to get to where she's at.
Yes.
Yeah. And she seems really hungry for this.
She is,
she is really hungry. You can tell. That's why I say it's almost like she's doing an act. I think that maybe because I've been around you and the New York comics so much that it's like you're almost real to a fault. Like you're so. We had a conversation upstairs before we started this where you're like, I hate to be optimistic, and that's not a thing that you hear from people in show business, especially in 2017. Like, you're supposed to be optimistic. You're supposed to be positive. You're supposed to, think it, and then it becomes this thing. And I kind of find myself falling someplace in the middle of that thing. But I think that she falls so far into the positive realm, which, by the way, is working for her, that I start to feel like I know that there's some insecurity in you that I'm not seeing. And I end up in a position where I want to see the insecurity.
I want to see it. Yeah, you start to go like, okay, there's no way this is. I see the people as masks are not as easy to keep on anymore because we have a million ways of talking to each other. And there was an article that came out, this whole Louie fallout, by the way, not to change, I forgot. This guy wrote an article bashing the Cellar table, like saying it was
I read
bad.
that.
And I read part of it, and it was like saying the gay people aren't welcome, and it's like, you literally have no idea what you're talking about. It's a boys' club. Do you know who runs the Cellar? Fucking Esty runs the Cellar.
It's really funny because, and you want to talk about like the conversations that happened at the Cellar table. If you go through episodes of Louie and you're not just looking for masturbation scenes,
yes,
you can find these conversations that have depth to them. You're talking. There's a gay guy talking to Nick DiPaolo about this word.
That was Rick
word.
Chrome. I was at the table when that discussion took place about the word faggot.
In real life, you mean?
That was a real discussion, and Louie was there, and Rick was there, and I was there, and Nick was there. And Rick was talking about being used as kindling or whatever it was, or why the word faggot applied to gay people. And that wound up being this heralded scene, this amazing scene. But that came from the Comedy Cellar table. So, like, this guy, he was just ill-informed. Like, if you think that it's some homophobic place, you think people don't know what my lifestyle has been? Like, come on. Stop it.
Yeah, it really is amazing because I feel like at some point you and your lifestyle is going to become a much bigger part of this conversation because you're like one of these guys who would absolutely be associated with the misogynistic, homophobic, offensive, like you're that comedian.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at your dating life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's right there. The real lifeness of what's going on and what jokes actually mean is kind of right there, right?
Well, the reason people don't really care about it, which is fine, is because they haven't caught me. I've just said it. When you say something, there's no interest in people in getting you or catching you. When you're comfortable with something, or you talk about your sexuality or who you are, even the questions I have about it, like I don't have all the answers, but I'm not lying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything someone has told me I should say, I've thought of saying, and I'm like, but is that honest? I don't know. So, like, but this whole thing about the table being homophobic, with their gay jokes, absolutely. But some of the people that you think that aren't gay, we know they are. Some of the people that are there that you don't know are bisexual, we know they are. And because you're not seeing that on the outside and you think it's this homophobic boys club,
right?
We all know things about each other that you don't know. And we know who we accept at that table. And as far as women are concerned, women were never shunned from that table. It's just simply not true.
So do you think it's somebody writing an article about the idea of this comedy table? Is it a guy who never got invited to sit at the back of the bus thinking that this is now, well, those kids that made me feel like a nerd in high school are the same people that would be making me feel like a nerd? Or who knows? Maybe this guy was an open micer at one point, or girl, whoever wrote the article.
It was a guy, I don't remember his name. He's got a show on True TV. And I think he's gay and he's open and he thinks that it's like this masculine boys club. But you haven't been there and seen the conversations that were had, how the absolute liberal and the absolute conservative point of view are heard. Fucking females are welcome at that table. There's no, are you kidding me? Michelle Wolf hangs out there. Amy comes from there. Marina Franklin comes from there. Veronica Mosey comes from there. There's so many female comics. Wanda Sykes comes from there. There's so many comedians. And then Sarah that have spent hours of time there. Sorry, they moved. What do you want us to do? Right. Fucking make them stay in New York? Yeah. But these were not just token women. There's just less women in the business. And when they were there, they were welcome there. And they were welcome to be a part of the conversation. And if you're funny and if you have something to say, people listen to you.
I think something that has to be brought up is what we were just talking about, right? Of that sort of optimistic versus non-optimistic. Like now there are comics that want to lie to themselves. They don't want the things that they're bad at to be pointed out. And, Kevin Hart is like the king of optimistic comedians and putting something out into the universe and seizing it. But then he also talks about his history of being at the table and having phone books thrown at him while he's trying to do a set.
But we loved him and we did that. We didn't throw a phone book because we didn't like him. We did it because it was funny to shake a guy up. And that was like a guy we were going, we really like you. And can you hang out in this environment? Or are you going to get fucking angry? Because so many guys get angry and that's not a fun guy to hang out with.
So do you think that when there are, whether it's a female, whether it's a gay guy, whether it's a heterosexual white man, do you think when there are people who enter into comedy with the goal of being famous, because it's very different than just I want to be a comedian.
Sure.
Like a lot of people now enter into this world because honestly they saw people like Louie and they want to be famous, which means that maybe they don't want like reality.
The things that the other things that come with being
and so they're avoiding this table, right? Because they know that all their insecurities are going to be pointed out to them. And so in order to properly avoid the table, what do? But come up with excuses like, well, they wouldn't want me there because I'm a woman.
Yeah, which is it's just simply not true. If he said, hey, there's a lot of mean discussions that have taken place there and aggression, and I don't like it. Like, if he had just talked about that, fine, you're right. You can say that. But to act like women aren't welcome there or gay people aren't welcome there, it's not to being politically correct. It's just simply, it's not the truth.
Right.
And it's false. And to think that women aren't welcome there, you've obviously never fucking sat with Esty. You've never spent time with Esty because every comic is fucking terrified of her. Except for the ones that don't. Like, she doesn't fuck around at all. And, so when the person who gets the most respect at the table, do you really think she's going to sit there in an environment where women are being truly fucking stop it?
It's her table, right?
It's
at the end of the day.
It was her and it was Manny.
Yeah.
And she is there through everything that happens. And to think that any women there who are accepted or tokens or whatever the word he used were is just being ill-informed. And the table's nothing special. It's just a place where comedians hung out and shit on each other and talked honestly. That's all it was.
Is it even a thing anymore? The table at the Cellar? I feel like
no.
it's kind of, since it seems like, and maybe this is just because I know all you guys, and I don't spend any time at the Comedy Cellar, but the table that we've all come to know is tough crowd, and it's Colin and you and Voss and Bobby and Keith Robinson and
Kevin Hart, Nick DiPaolo, Bill
Nick
Burr,
DiPaolo, Patrice, like that generation.
Sure.
Was that kind of the last generation of the real table as we know
the
it?
attitude of it? Yeah, it was just the attitude of the comedians there. I don't even like when they call it the table. It's just where the comics hung out. And there was so many long hours. There really were legendary shit on you sessions. Like the things that you guys liked on Opie and Anthony where we would just attack each other, that's where that comes from.
Right.
And that's all it was just a bunch of friends fucking abusing each other. So if you came in, you were coming into an atmosphere where you were going to get made fun of.
Do the young comics have anything like that you just not a part of?
I think their thinking is a little bit different. I don't know if they're as harsh with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there may be, but I'm just not a part of it.
It does seem a little more supportive.
It may be, yeah, sure. But we supported each other too. I mean, all those guys love each other. I mean, it's, again, a different generation. It's harder to say things than it is for 20-something-year-olds. But, the guys in that thing, when they're concerned for you, they're concerned for you. When there's a problem,
right,
people are there for each other. And it's the same as any other group of dumb friends. If it wasn't for the show, Louie, and the show's tough crowd, and all the people who've come to interview people there, nobody would have ever known about that. We never did that for any reason other than just to fucking be there and shit talk and hang out.
It wasn't a pilot. It wasn't there to. You weren't pitching a podcast.
Geraldo did a pilot about it. I forget what he called it, but he tried to capture that.
But the pilot is based on the thing that existed.
Already
I'm saying
existed.
You're not creating this thing because you're like, you know what?
Yes.
Maybe if we're all just hanging out and busting chops, an executive will walk in and hear us and go, that's the dynamic I need.
No, we were hoping for that, but Patrice would have ruined it. Patrice would have shut up. The guy immediately he would have sent out of the room unhappy. He would have wrecked it.
You think if an executive would come in and been like, we want this dynamic, and you're all being yourselves, so all of you are going to be like, dude, that's great. You think Patrice would have
100% ruined it? I remember a few years ago they were trying to do a show about it, where they just come in and film the comedians. I remember Tom Papa and a couple of guys were going, it's just not natural, and it doesn't feel right. It feels fake, and we don't want to do it. And most of the comics said that they wouldn't do it. I think Colin said he wouldn't do it because it didn't feel organic. And I remember we went to dinner with Noam and Esty and a whole bunch of us who talked about Ava. Another one, by the way, who nobody knows who she is.
Yeah.
All you guys, that guy who wrote the article, you don't know who Ava is.
Right.
She was Manny's girlfriend for many, many years. And I believe she co-owns the Cellar with Noam. But you don't understand the amount of women that have power there. This is not a boys' club. And if you think it is, it's because you're ignorant to what happens there for real.
Right. And you're either not invited for a reason or maybe are scared to be part of that honest conversation.
Or you're seeing like what other people have said about it and not a first-hand experience.
Yeah.
I read it. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I could care less what somebody writes about the Cellar or whatever. You don't like it, fine. It's sold out every night. 4 shows Saturday, 3 shows Friday. So they don't. Should have eaten those cookies.
Are you feeling it? Do you feel it in your belly?
My midriff.
Do you think that even though they were healthy, it's still like brown sugar?
It's all sugar.
It's
bananas and fucking peanut butter. It's all sugar.
It's a lot of sugar.
All sugar.
It's not celery and shrimp cocktail.
No,
it's not.
It's all sugar.
And that was your lunch, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
What did you think of Louie's apology? Because I read it and like the flack that my initial reaction, because like I've talked to you about this before. I don't like that the words "I'm sorry" have to be used to convey this idea. He talked about the fact that he felt what's the word?
Remorseful?
Remorseful. And that, to me, when you say I feel remorse for what I've done, it's the exact same thing. It conveys the exact same sentiment as I'm sorry. But you're just not saying this thing that we were taught when we were a kid, like, and then say please, and then say thank you. Like, you just haven't used that word, which kind of annoys me. But I liked that he said he was remorseful, which to me counts as an apology.
And then he was wrong.
He says he was wrong, which to me counts for more than most apologies, because most apologies are, I'm sorry if I offended anybody, or I'm sorry if my actions were misinterpreted, which isn't even, that's not even sort of an apology, because you're qualifying it. So he didn't qualify it. He admitted everything.
Yeah.
He said he was wrong. He said he was going to go away, and he acknowledged the power differential that exists. So I thought all that was actually really good. To me, the only thing, and because I started reading a lot of criticisms, and I was like, I thought that it was actually okay. The only criticism that I thought, like, yep, that is a serious criticism, and I agree with, was not acknowledging the fact that this rumor has been around, and he denied it. I wish that he had said something about, I denied this for a long time, and I shouldn't have, and I was lying.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe that. But here's the reason people are criticizing it. There's a couple reasons. A, some people just probably don't believe it, and they're like, fuck Louie. That's probably, some people have a valid feeling for that, and that's how
like
they feel.
there's no apology that you're going to give me that I'm
They
going to
don't want to hear
accept.
it.
Yeah.
Other people, because part of it is, now that he comes out and says it, if there's all the people there are, well, then that's the end of the story. So they still need the story to, we don't believe the apology. Or now they're going through material and looking for material that he's done, or like, who gives a fuck?
It was funny.
Not the dumb jokes.
It was funny that he did that thing. That's one of those things. First of all, it almost feels like he was trying to, like, cry out for help or something, like just get it off his chest, the amount of masturbation material that he did. But it's really funny that video exists from his show of him being on Greg Gutfeld's the fake Red Eye appearance, where the Chiron says Louie C.K. comedian / masturbator. Like, that's amazing that exists.
I think I hooked him up with that, actually, with Greg.
Did you?
Yeah. I remember. I
awesome.
almost positive I did, because he wanted to do it. I think I recommended Greg.
Because that's one of those things that you look at and you're like, in hindsight, I wish that wasn't around.
Sure.
Right now. That sucks.
But the thing is, but his apology, I felt like, look, people are going to judge it harshly. You don't have many to compare it to, because this does not sound like a publicist prepared apology.
No, he says, I took my dick out. Like, he says my dick in it.
This is a weird one where you very rarely do you hear the guy who's accused come out and go, these stories about me are true. Mm-hmm. That was an important thing. He's immediately said they were true. If some of the other logic he used was flawed, or you want to take issue with it, but to say these stories about me are true is it's a very powerful statement. And people say, you're a Louie apologist. Shut up. I just think that's a strong statement, and you don't hear most people in the middle of a crisis say that. So whatever happens, look, I just hope for his sake, and for the sake of the people, the women, that there's not a lot of fucking other people that haven't come forward. Like, I hope that this is it.
I would think that because this story just grew and grew and grew all weekend, that if there were other women, they would have
possibly come forward.
Yeah, it seems like they would have.
They might. Who knows? Most of his stuff might have been in relationships too, or he might have, or the majority of it might have been people he was dating.
Yeah.
I know Laura Silverman said that he did it, but she's like, they were dating and traveling, and they just broken up, and he was just jerking off in front of her every day. And she was like, someday she'd stay inside, someday she wouldn't. But she said she stressed, I'm not a victim. But I believe the women who said that.
Right.
When I read it, I believed them. It's like, come on, man, I'm not stupid.
So there are women that are victims. There are other women who were just in his personal life that were.
Yeah, and maybe there's other people that are just too embarrassed, or who the fuck knows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean.
So you're not because one of the takeaways from this, I'm sitting here going like, oh my God, the freedom of being anywhere near show business and knowing that I've never sexually assaulted anyone now.
Yeah.
It's like this amazing thing, right? Like, I wake up going like, if anything comes out about me, it's going to be lies, because I'm a boring guy who's been in a relationship for over 10 years at this point, who's just done nothing. I haven't made any comments. I just haven't done anything. And for a while, I was like, that makes me unusually boring. Like, that makes me somebody that
I hope someone is grabbing all these amazing audio clips.
I've done nothing. I'm boring.
Yes, I've accomplished nothing. I've said nothing.
But there is now this like freedom of like, I can walk around with my chest out going like, what are you gonna do? You Is it because you've been honest about everything? Because I mean, and I'm sure you read tweets too that are like, oh, Jim does this too. He's the next one. And I'm like,
no, I'm not.
And I've had private conversations with you about the stuff you like, and it's like, it kind of matches the public. I have nothing to, look, I've talked about the sexual stuff I've done, and it's not like people who I've done it with don't matter as human beings, but the energy of making somebody uncomfortable or victim, it just doesn't turn me on. It's not what I've enjoyed. I haven't enjoyed that angle of sex. I've never enjoyed that angle of sex. I like somebody's, the consent, somebody giving me that, and it sounds like I'm just trying to be this male feminine, but that's part of the turn on, is that somebody is trusting me and giving me that fucking dirty part of them. So that's what I like. Have you thought back, though, at anything that's happened just because you've had so many partners of like, oh, you know what? If they want to twist what happened there, they could make me look
anybody
bad.
You date can twist it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty comfortable that no one could twist anything, because again, I'm very careful about what I do. I'm smarter than people think I am. I'm not as reckless as people think I am. You know, I'm much more careful than people would suspect. And especially even in the business, there's nothing like, I had a girlfriend who was a comedian a decade ago. And I just don't fuck women in the business, and I don't try to fuck women in the business, and I don't pull my dick out in front of them, and I don't touch them.
And since you didn't take advantage of anybody, the only thing that could come out about you is just like embarrassing stuff, which you've already said.
Yeah, and I don't find even most of it to be embarrassing. Like, do you want your mother to read things you've said? No.
But who by the way, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I'm sure she has.
Your mom's aware.
Yeah, she is aware. But yeah, no, and I didn't do it in the moments that I wasn't doing that stuff or trying to fuck girls I worked with or that stuff. Or it wasn't like, hey, someday this will make me look good. It's just not. It's not how my mind worked with it. For me, what turned me on sexually was bizarre. Like it was a weird energy, and that just wasn't it. I'm curious as to what the turn on is, though. Like, I really have, like, some people, like, I think you said it. Hey, I like to hear about a girl being fucked by her ex-boyfriend and how he was better than me. Like, okay, that hurts my feelings, but I like it.
Right.
And most people are like, I have no idea what that's. I get it.
Right.
That's how I feel about jerking off in front of somebody who doesn't want it.
Right.
Like, how do you stand there in front of somebody and not? If it's a sexual look, if somebody is there, or there's a financial exchange you're having, and you both know what's going on, it's a much different mindset than someone being there for work advancement. And you going, you have to, it's a different energy.
By the way, that statement you just made, you are attributing the statement of attributing something that you do to the Louie C.K. jerk-off thing. When you just said it just now, you made it sound like I want the women that I'm with to tell me about their exes.
Oh, I do.
No. You made it sound like that's what I like.
Oh, not you, Sam. No, I mean, yeah, no.
I just wanted to make sure that was
me.
kind of
yeah, but
right.
I mean, that's a weird thing that I like. Like, I like to hear about her life. Like, I like to hear about the things that she's ashamed to tell other people. Like,
but you've heard people be like, "What?
Tell me."
That's crazy.
Why would you want to hear that?
Right.
Some women like it though. I'll tell you why they like it, because they don't have to hide anything. Like, women will have these weird things too, and they're taught you're supposed to be a certain way. But then they start telling you this stuff, and you're not shaming them for it. And they're like, "Oh my God, most guys never want to hear this."
Right.
So I think that they're willing to try different things with me, because they know I'm not going to make a fool out of them. Or I'm not going to. Being shamed sexually is a motherfucker. Like, nobody wants to be shamed sexually. It's humiliating.
Have you ever been in a scenario where you've pitched something weird, and you've made and your whoever you're with has made you feel like an idiot or has shamed you? Not
really, because it's talked about casually.
Yeah.
Like, I discuss stuff a lot. I talk about stuff a lot. And if you're at dinner, you talk about stuff. You don't talk about it in the moment, like, hey, look, do you mind if I pinch your nipples? It's not a sexy moment.
No,
you want it to feel organic.
Yeah.
So you talk about it at dinner when you're talking, like, just in having casual conversations. You're like, yeah, I like this and that. And then she'll go, oh, I kind of like that. But and there's no pressure on someone's feelings when you're having just a chat.
Right.
When you're talking about something, there's no pressure like, oh, God, I know he wants this. I have to say this because he's wearing a Captain America uniform. I have to act like... Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk about something, you can just talk about it in the abstract, and then you're still kind of having an underlying conversation. Like, I like this, and I like this. So when we're having sex, I don't ever want to spank somebody who doesn't want to be spanked.
So is that kind of the way you've always been?
Yeah, most of the time.
Because that's very, like...
But just because it feels more realistic that way.
Right.
Like being spanked or spanking a girl. Like, I don't ever want to say to a girl, do you want me to spank you? Because if you're being dominant or she's being dominant, that takes away from it.
So you don't want to convince anybody to do something that they normally wouldn't want to do. You want to get somebody to tell you something that normally they would not tell you that they want to do, but they actually want to do it.
Yeah, I like the fact that they trust me enough to do it.
Right.
That turns me on. Like, that somebody trusts me enough, and they're right to trust me, because I won't shame them for it, and I will never tell anybody the things they've told me.
So does it bother you when people think you're a scumbag, or do you not care?
I could care less.
Right, it doesn't matter.
No, because what is a scumbag? A scumbag, a guy who's married for 20 years, who's out fucking other women.
Right.
That's a like, you know, or a guy who is who gets a girl pregnant and denies it or abandons her.
Or let's be honest, there's a lot of people who will take somebody that's doing just weird stuff but living that life and like really make it seem awful because they're jealous that they're stuck. And I don't mean that they're jealous that they want to do all of your weirdness, but I mean they're jealous because they just want to get out of this trap that they're in.
Yeah, some of you guys have healthy relationships and you have great relationships and you're happy. And yeah, you could say, Jim, you're this idiot who's done fine. But a lot of you aren't. How many of you aren't? What's the divorce rate? How many people get married to people because they're supposed to, or they have a kid when they don't want to? I'm getting the old lady's nagging me. How many of you complain, she doesn't suck my dick anymore? How many of you women are complaining, he got fat? All you do is hear couples absolutely bitch about each other. So maybe I've made mistakes, and yeah, maybe I should have got married 10 years ago. But the reality is I didn't do that. I didn't make that mistake.
Right.
I didn't fucking put a kid through a shitty situation because I married someone I didn't love.
I find that to be like so almost pathetic. It's like sad when people are like, well, now you're getting married. That all goes away after marriage. And it's like, who did you marry? You know what I mean? Like the people will marry. It's one thing to compromise, right? But like if you're me, this living, breathing incarnation of a man-child.
Imagine a self-inflicted gunshot. If you're me and then you just
like we could just add in a virtual effect.
But no, if you didn't know I had a gun with me, and when you said if you're me and I just thought about it and blew my fucking head off.
You should just carry props with you just in case.
I know, kabang.
but like, you know, you kind of have to understand. Like people are like, oh, after you get married, you're not going to be able to have all those wrestling toys anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Oh, after you have a kid, you're not going to be able to have all those wrestling toys. And yes, I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm spending my life with somebody who understands for whatever ungodly reason that this is what I do and who I am. And it's not going to change.
And it's not a problem for her.
No, it's not a problem. It's not this like, oh, you know, I really wish, but he doesn't listen. It's like, no, that's him. That's who I married. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no, does it criticize if someone calls me a scumbag? No. Maybe they hate me for other reasons, or maybe their interpretation of my lifestyle is that. But I don't believe in victimizing people. And again, I keep saying this, but I'm not standing on a pedestal like I'm incredible. You're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of do what I like and what feels right. But no, I don't worry about people saying shit like that. It's like they're just, again, like the guy who wrote that article, they're ill-informed.
You know how disgusted I am that you're on my show, right? And normally like shows have the mugs and stuff for the guests, and it has the show logo on it. You know how annoyed I am?
Why?
That it's not only that it's a chip mug. It's from my kitchen.
It is from your kitchen.
But you're sitting there like, this is like, I'm trying to brand this as my thing. It's Sam Roberts Now. It's on my YouTube channel. It's live. It's all this stuff.
Well, why is the face blurred? Somebody was molested. That's why the face is blurred out. Look at that.
No, it's like static, like a TV. It's media.
Oh, okay. You mean static as far as growth is concerned?
No.
It's just kind of stagnant?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm following the Jim Norton business plan.
Sam R. Burt's.
No, it's an O. You replace the O with my head. But instead of just nicely branding everything, you have to bring the chip thing with you.
Go on now.
Wherever
this
you
was
go.
Upstairs. I was very happy that Jess brought this mug out.
It really is annoying.
Are people watching us?
Yeah. They've been commenting the whole time.
Oh, no. Are they giving us negative comments?
Lots of negative comments. You know, there were a couple people. I felt like, so we're having this real conversation, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of, oh, there's a thing over it on that monitor. But we're having this real conversation, I felt like. And then I look over to just be like, oh, what are the people saying? And I think Sam needs to shave his head. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, you kind of missed the purpose. You kind of missed the point of what we were talking about.
Then again, what's the difference? As long as they're watching, like, for instance, if you're watching Baywatch, the actress wants you to watch because she's a good actress. You're watching her because you liked her tits. What's the difference? They both count in the ratings.
Yeah, I don't care.
So, yeah.
What's that noise? Oh, that must be the pipes. Yeah, and then another person just commented in, is there a drink in that mug?
Yeah, there's a drink in that mug. Let's see, read me some of the comments. Some of the praise for Jim Norton or some of the criticism.
It says, Sam the fucking nerd. Chip show, Sam, you're Pekka. I don't even know what that means. Sammy Brand Muffins. Pekkas. They're coming in fast and furious.
Good. Chip should be dominating the show. I should have brought the fucking stuff.
And then it says, P.S. Never read the comments. And then that guy, I'm not even gonna. There's a guy who keeps saying you guys are boring, but he's been listening since the beginning of the show.
Okay, that's all that matters.
So yeah, it's really not a problem. I don't.
Yeah, well, what do you want us to do? We're talking about Louie. Fucking have tambourines behind us. We're just talking.
Yeah, and our bit, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to. But I don't know. I what do you think of all the tchotchkes in here? I added more tchotchkes.
I like the Jonekes. Tchotchkes.
You mean because of Joni and Chachi?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I thought that's where you were going.
By the way, the rest of Hollywood, just to digress for one more second.
Yeah. Do you like this that's going on?
Yeah, because again, a lot of it is guys who like people are being accused of fucking rape.
Right.
Rape and again, they're certainly not all guilty.
Yeah.
And look, a guy in 1975 who just flirted with you, or already shouldn't have grabbed your ass in 1982. I don't put that on the level of assault of a guy pulling his dick out and putting it in front of your face, or these guys who are being accused of like assault and rape. Like there's some horrible shit that's been going on. And again, some of them are totally false and the guys have to fight back. But, you know, if you're accused by 50 people of sexually abusing them in the business, like, yeah, they're not all lying.
No, absolutely not. And I was talking about it on Friday, and some people gave me shit. Some people really liked it. I don't know. But I think that the fact that we can now have a conversation about the behavior, like I feel like every time something like this comes up and it's just one individual thing, it ends up being this like well, she could have done this differently, she could have done that differently. But now that it's become this epidemic, it's the behavior's not being allowed. And I think that it's the first time that we've been at a place that we could have a conversation about the fact that you can't just keep saying, well, guys want to have sex and boys will be boys and this is what men are and it's nature. And it's like that doesn't hold water. That's not true.
Well, people get mad like whenever you talk about stuff like this, if you don't completely paint their version of it or the version that they're thinking, they immediately say you don't get it. You're a rape. If you're like, well, I don't know, did Louie think that they liked it or did he not care? I'm curious. Rape apologizer.
Yeah, you're like,
what?
Okay, all right.
People get too fucking mad at each other when you just when like instead of just listening to someone else's take on it and going, all right, I see why you here's my take. People just get fucking pissed off at each other.
Which is why the comedy Cellar got portrayed the way it got portrayed, because nobody wants to have that like difficult conversation anymore. Yeah. Nobody wants to have that hard thing where like they could be wrong and the stuff that they're bad at is put in their face. Like that's not a conversation that people
and sometimes the things that we're good at are put in our face. Like so the tchotchkes, they look good. They look good, the little dolls.
I meant the little guys on the desk and stuff. Like,
I like it
because that's what it seemed like.
Like Dan Patrick.
The desk needed some personality.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I would put other things besides 3 Simpson things. And
well, these things.
They're
and that
ill-placed.
Thing
Ill-placed.
Well, there's not that many.
It looks basically like it's a mess, and you just didn't clean it. It doesn't look like necessarily tchotchkes. It looks like oh, you got to get rid of that. You forgot to take that upstairs.
Yeah. Are you gonna take your soda off the desk before we start? And I'm like, no, that's
an empty glass.
That's part of the personality.
Yeah, I would say no. There's no personality.
It says Roberts on it.
I don't care. What are these stupid movies?
They're like VHS tapes. One of them's a wrestling tape. One of them.
Why are they there?
You know, because
they had nothing.
Everybody's like, oh, VHS.
Oh, no,
that's so cool,
I
man.
think you need better tchotchkes here.
Oh, like what?
I don't know. I would say some different one. You didn't like my Joni and Chachi joke? I would say just a few different things.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but a few different things. Like I like your little wall of wrestling toys.
It's not just wrestling toys.
Yeah, and the little shoes.
Yeah, and little Nikes over there. We got some microphones over here.
Shoes here. I like, oh yeah, the things in the back, the hat.
I think I need more. That's one of Patrice's hats.
Oh,
yep.
I have to display my Patrice hat. I got the Patrice benefit thing hanging in my living room.
Yeah. I probably need more horror movie stuff.
That's great.
What do you think of the Trump tweet that went out? I'm so glad that you and I talked to Michael Malice because I don't know. He tweeted out that thing about
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un, and I thought it was funny when he was like. He goes, I don't know why Kim Jong-un insulted me by calling me old when I've never said he was short and fat. And I'm like, look, if it were just Donald Trump, it would be 100% funny.
Sure.
It's President Donald Trump.
And there's talk about war.
And there's talk about war. But, you know, Michael Malice, who's like this North Korea expert, made me feel better about the whole thing. He's not worried about war, and he knows a lot about North Korea.
I wasn't worried either.
Are you worried now?
No.
What did you think of the tweet?
It's like I get the humor of it.
I'm so glad this is video and not just radio. I love the eye roll. It's just like because that's it, isn't it?
I get
the whole, like what do you?
I know. I get the appeal of it, like for the funny part, like
Yeah.
fuck him. But there is also the thing, like all trolling aside, like you are the U.S. president.
Yeah.
And there's times where you just got to handle things. It's just a little better.
A little bit.
A little bit. I'm not
Yeah.
shitting on him. I know the Trump people. You fucking cuck. You know,
Yeah.
It's accurate. I am.
But not a Trump cuck.
Not a Trump cuck.
Right.
No, because I defend him too. If I say anything positive about him, people get mad. But his communication stinks, and that's the problem he has.
Yeah. It really is, and it's so funny because he said, "Wait till you see it. When I'm done campaigning, when I win, I'm going to be the most presidential ever. Just wait until you see it. Wait until you see."
That's right.
And then it turns around and it's the same guy.
I'd say he's not the most presidential ever.
It's the same guy who said only Rosie O'Donnell. Like that's the guy who's tweeting about Kim Jong-un now.
Yeah,
It's
a little beneath him.
which
It's a little beneath him.
it's a little beneath The Office.
Yeah, The Office. Good point.
Right. I don't know if it's beneath Trump. Do you think that everything changes after Trump? Like, what do you think it looks like? Because I don't think SNL actually did the one good thing they did last night. They had this one of the good things I should say because I like Kenan Thompson. He did a very funny impression of LeVar Ball. You know, Lonzo Ball's dad.
Okay.
You know the Ball family. Yeah. He did that I laughed at a lot. But there's this skit of like the Democrats all coming together to put out this commercial of how they're the new fresh faces and they're coming back. But it was like Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and Tim Kaine, and obviously like why would anybody?
Yeah.
There's nothing young or fresh
That's
about
right. There's
any of
nothing
this.
new about any of them.
So, what do you think happens? Whether he doesn't last an entire term, whether he goes 2 full terms, like after Trump is done.
Well, I'm a Whig from way back.
Yeah, I know you're a guy from the Whig Party.
They would call me that when I was a kid. They would say I was a Whigger. So I guess they appreciated my political affiliations. So I'm assuming that's why they said that was because I was
What
a
a
member
play on words.
member
I
of the-
liked it.
of the Whig Party. I don't know, man. It's who knows? I don't even know who I'm going to vote for. If I vote independent, I don't know.
I think and it's they were talking about Mark Cuban running now. I do think it all changes. I think that that's going to be the best thing about this Trump campaign or presidency, for better or worse, that it's going to put everything into shock. I don't think people don't snap back all the other way. That's not the way this works. Like you don't push it to the end and then it just snaps right back.
Right.
Like I don't think that, okay, we've seen this extreme, so now we're going to snap back to something that's more acceptable and more suitable. I think we're going to end up in a position where now we'll probably be more moderate. We won't be as extreme. But going forward, it's got to be something different. I think the Trump stuff combined with the sex assault stuff in Hollywood, like all this is kind of a major change in society, right?
I think
Like
so.
everything's different.
Yeah, it's just the older generation getting pushed out, and the older generation
Pushed out?
Pushed out. I was gonna say put out and put. Yeah, they get pushed out.
Yeah,
That's put and pushed at the same
They're
time.
pushing us out.
Yeah, quit pushing me out, man. But it's
I've
almost
got
like,
a lot to say still. Keep pushing me out.
quit pushing me out. It's the younger just kind of squeezing out the ideals and the methods of older people. And
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And it's
probably
happening.
right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's right. It's what happened with the generation in Vietnam and whatever. So I stopped resisting it. But people think I've gotten wishy-washy. But I know I spent so many years being angry and that chemical dump of rage.
Yeah.
And it was half the time I was wrong. And it was pointless and it was stupid. And I didn't listen and I wasn't happy. It wasn't afraid of being confrontational. But I'm just not 100% convinced that I'm right all the time anymore.
Do you think, too, that part of this evolution is that people have kind of realized that, like, that rage that everybody, like, that was part of the culture, right? In like the late 90s going into the 2000s, like being angry and sexed up and all this stuff, like that was all, and meanness was in the zeitgeist. Meanness was part of the culture. Like when what's her name from Wilson, what's her name? Carney Phillips?
Yeah, Wilson or Carney Phillips?
Carney Phillips, right? That's her
Yeah.
name? The big
I think
girl.
so, yeah.
Big girl, big heavy girl. When she came out and she was like, well, I was shamed. on Howard Stern's show. They made me stand on a scale, and I didn't realize it was a scale.
Did they do that?
You didn't read this article?
I know.
So Carney Wilson comes out. That's who it was, Carney Wilson. Carney Wilson comes out, and she goes, she said on one of these talk shows, and I had the same reaction as you, like, God damn, what a bit. She goes, I was body shamed. I was on the Howard Stern show, and I weighed like 235 pounds or something, and Baba Booey asked me to stand in one space in the room. So I did, and I didn't realize that my weight was going to show up on a screen behind me because it was a scale with a screen behind her. And Howard announced my weight and started asking me, like, why would my husband ever be attracted to me? And I think she was trying to couple it in with what's going on now. That,
is that
like,
recently she wrote
yeah,
that?
Oh, yeah. She was just like, this happened to me. And it was on E! Like, it was part of his TV show, and it was on the radio, obviously. But that isn't Howard in his personal life victimizing people.
No,
that's like a television show that was put on.
It's a guy on the radio who you know can be a dick being
Right.
a dick. Were you surprised Howard was a dick?
And that's what it was then, too. It wasn't just Howard. That's when it was Howard and Jerry Springer and Beavis and Butthead and Jackass. Like, being mean and making fun of people was what you did then, and it was societally what was happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I miss that, the fact that, like, you could really have a great laugh
At someone's expense.
at something like that. But do you think that people are starting to realize that the rage and the furor maybe don't
Well,
I don't mean mind
that's
furor.
not criticism.
I'm not talking about that guy.
He was a good speaker.
Yeah, I understood. I'm not talking about that guy. But do you think that people are realizing that maybe they weren't getting as far anymore with it, that it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be?
Or maybe just information. Now we get information. Like, another reason I'm not 100% on things is because you get such a giant information dump every day. Constantly, you constantly have new things to think about. So every time you think you know something and you start getting angry, you hear the other side of it. You're like, like, if you're willing to listen to it, there's just too much information to make immediate decisions anymore. And the problem is everybody makes immediate decisions.
Yeah, and it's funny because the people who would say that you're wishy-washy are probably the same people that would criticize the news for wanting to be first instead of right. And like this idea of, like, I think what you're saying is, like, you'd rather not take this hard stance on something than take a hard stance and be completely wrong because you just hadn't done the research.
Or just take a hard stance because I think I'm supposed to.
Right.
Like, if you just stand there and you dig in, I'm just tired of digging in because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, like,
I'm not impressed with people who have conviction that they won't change regardless of new input or new information.
Yeah.
They're dopes.
Yeah.
Fucking shut up.
Yeah. And again, it's the same criticism you have of the news of, like, well, why would they push out that guy's name
That's
if they
right.
didn't know it and all this stuff? It's
Dog.
the same. It's the same thing. We put the dog to sleep. She's still in here. Lila's still in here, but
What's
she
up,
went down.
Lilo?
We do have a couple people that are listening because, like, you know, my audience comes from all over the place, and this is on the Not Sam YouTube channel.
Yes, it is.
Which you can see on the plaque behind us is one of the 100,000 subscriber people. That's right.
Did they give you that, YouTube?
Yeah, they sent it to me. But some people are chiming in the comments as wrestling fans.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know if there's something that you want to say because you caught wind a while back that some of the people who are familiar with me from my wrestling interviews get very frustrated when you're in the wrestling interviews. And then for some reason, after you caught wind of that, you became even more intolerable.
Did I?
Yeah. You asked... You found out, you realized that the wrestling fans have been critical of you in these wrestling interviews. Yeah. And then you started asking worse questions and more obvious questions. They got very mad, for instance, when you looked at Nikki Bella and she said, are you engaged? And she said yes to John Cena. And you said, oh, is he a wrestler? They were like, why is Jim there?
Part of it is, like, I'm interested in, like, the personal angle on some of them if it's a real interview. Like, I like interviewing them because I think they're good talkers.
And I think that's why I like doing them with you, because it's like now we're actually speaking to people as people for people.
Yeah, because I don't know any of the inner workings, and so Sam will cover all the stuff I don't know.
I have a painting of Owen Hart in this room off camera, and Jim referred to him as Michael Douglas.
Is it Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't care if the wrestling fans get annoyed. Go ahead, get annoyed.
You're trolling them.
Yeah, I mean, like, the bottom line is I don't know. I'll ask stupid questions all day. You want to be mean to me? Then wait till Vince is on.
Will you ruin a Vince McMahon interview?
I wouldn't ruin it. No, because I like Vince.
Like, what's the number for people out there that are wrestling fans? Like, what's the number one question that you would like to ask Vince McMahon?
Do you think you'll ever wait?
And there would be this many
Do you
and waits.
think? Did you like it better when it was called WWF?
It's a terrible question. I would love to watch him struggle to answer that, just to like try to be polite, like to not, because he's on your show and it's supposed to be a big show and you're supposed to be this big comedian who's got a brain in his head, that you would ask that question.
Was it hard to go from the F's to the E, because all you got to do is add a line? That is pretty much it.
No, that's not.
WWE, just put a line at the bottom. An F is just an E with no bottom.
No, you're right. And that's probably a great conversation that you guys could get into. One person wants to know if you have spoken to Louie since all this stuff happened.
Have not spoken to him.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I texted him before the premiere. But I knew the premiere was getting canceled, but I didn't know the article was coming out.
You don't get invited to that many premieres. That had to be a bummer.
No, but that's why they did it, because Jim Norton was invited.
Yeah. Before they were like, Louie's like, look, this article's coming out. I think we should cancel the premiere. Well, before we do that, who's coming? Well, Jim Norton. Okay, yeah.
Don't be hasty.
Yeah, okay,
but I was the only one telling me you should do it. Lou, don't be hasty.
Yeah, that's what the text said. Like, Lou, I think you really should be pushing this project still.
Yeah.
I don't see how it's going to negatively affect anyone.
Don't be hasty, Lou. Yeah. So no, we have not talked since. I imagine he's just hibernating with the family, or he's got daughters, so he's probably had to talk to them. You know, whatever it is you got to do as a fucking parent when this shit happens.
Yeah. Well, Jim and I will be on tomorrow morning, as we are every morning, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Thank you for correcting me.
Sure.
Over on Sirius XM, Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Jim, and that's on Sirius XM channel 103. Aren't you glad that it's on one channel now?
I'm so happy. I still wish we had a replay.
They're changing the weekends.
I know, but I wish we had it in the afternoon, like, right after, because we miss certain audiences.
Yeah.
The on demand is good, but people just turn on the car radio and listen.
They do. I mean, that's really what Sirius's strong suit is. Sirius, at the end of the day, is like, the reason they're an awesome company is because they're in cars.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you'd like to be in the cars as often as humanly possible.
It would be better.
But
it is what it is.
We are on earlier. That it's nice to have the morning replay.
I love the morning replay, and I'll just say that the Do Chip podcast is out tonight, 8 o'clock. Anthony is on it, and Will, Vince, and Christina. I don't know who's...
Is Christina the new chick? Because she's been on a lot of episodes.
We haven't determined yet. I thought Gabby... I'll have Gabby again just to have her on. I liked her. People gave her a hard time. It's like, you guys got to realize that Chips are a little hard to deal with. Like, they get so mad if someone's on... Like, Anthony does it when he can. But I travel a lot for my gigs, so a lot of times we usually tape Thursdays. Yeah. But if I'm flying on a Thursday and Ant can't do Tuesday, what am I going to do? I have to do an episode.
I love this idea that, like, people who are obsessed, because Chip now has, like I feel like I can deal with Chip. Some people don't think I can, but I think I can deal with Chip.
You deal with him very well.
Because I've been around him for so long.
Sure.
I was around Chip when Chip was a very different... Like,
I was a Chipette.
That's not where I was going. But I've been around Chip a lot.
Yeah.
So I can deal with him. People have become obsessed with Chip, so they kind of know what Chip is.
Do you think they've become obsessed with Chip?
Are the tattoos real?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, they tattoos. I want more Chip tattoos.
You do?
Yeah, I saw 2 guys on my back. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I can't believe the level to which people are obsessed with Chip. Like, I don't understand. I can't tell you philosophically why this thing has not run its course. Like,
I'll tell you why.
It makes no sense to me that this thing would be able to maintain itself every week. And by the way, what started as like a 15 minutes was the original number I heard. A 15-minute podcast once a week, because that way Chip won't run out its course. You're now doing regularly an hour a week with people wanting more.
Yeah, and it won't go over an hour. But I'm talking about doing other things with Chip as well. And I think Chip embodies what...
This is what everybody wanted. One day, here's what I'm going to do. Now that we've done this, the next time you're here, I want to do a 60-minute inside the character's studio for Chip Chipperson. I want to interview Jim Norton about Chip.
You know the funny part about you, I think he's everybody's greatest fear is that we really are this asshole who doesn't know how awful we are. But I also think it's just endlessly fun because there's always moments to say stupid things.
Right.
So you can always do it. You can annoy your girlfriend with it, annoy your husband with it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to suck.
Yeah.
It's fun to be an idiot.
Yeah, because when you know you're sucking, you don't have to worry about sucking.
There's no pressure.
Right.
Yeah, you garbage. It's just fun to say.
You know, people are getting worried that Chip has made so many references to Jim Norton wanting to kill himself.
I was surprised about that. I go through my depression, but, you know, people thought what Chip is, people, some guy wrote me an email, like, what are you looking for, attention? Like, no, like, really stupid people. What it is almost, like, as Chip, I'm making fun of myself. Like, you
yes.
fucking stupid asshole.
Yes.
Like, so no.
But when you do it enough, it starts to feel like a
yeah,
cry for help.
but I don't realize it in the moment. You're just saying it. Like, literally when I'm doing Chip, you're not thinking, you're just doing that. You're thinking that way. Go on now, dog. Piece of garbage. Now the dog won't bark because she knows she's on camera.
Yeah.
But no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
But the Chip Chipperson podcast comes out
tonight.
8
p.m.
Will Sylvince.
It's a good one.
Anthony Cumia.
Will. It's a good one.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
I hope they like Will.
I'm sure they will.
Chip loved him.
I mean, when you talk about Chip being hard, stop doing that with them.
Well, it's the way you end the show.
So
By the way, we want Bobo on the show, but he fucking wouldn't come that day. I can't get Bobo booked on the show.
Should I see if I can get Bobo down here for Sam Roberts Now?
I'm sure you would. Good. Let him know where you live.
That's true. Maybe I won't.
You should.
Just be outside the door. I want to do a morning show from your basement, Sam.
Would you let him?
Yeah. Hey, Jess. Daniel's coming. He's gonna do the morning show on the Not Sam Network.
Yeah, just turn it on.
He'll be fine. He'll be good. All right. This is what do you think of Sam Roberts Now? It's a first guest episode.
It was good, man. It was you have a nice little setup here, great home, so I'm happy.
Yeah, this will be good. We're gonna do
how long was that?
An hour, a little more than an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. It went quickly.
Sure did.
And it was fun. That's the point, right? We're having a good time. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel.
You gotta sign off a certain way.
I know, but I have to plug all this stuff. Okay.
First.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Not Sam. That's what you're looking at this on. Make sure you're also subscribed to Sam Roberts Now across all forms of social media with Sam Roberts Now on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll put up clips and stuff on all that stuff. I'll try to it's not with the thing. I'm gonna try to find some salacious stuff that Jim said, and get that stuff up.
There's really nothing salacious.
Send it to TMZ. Jim Norton says.
Jim Norton bores TMZ. They actually like me because I talk pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually nice to me. But you got to. I forget what I was gonna say for your new sign off.
Well, then why did you tell me that you have to...
Oh, I know what it is. Yes, indeedy.
Oh.